his maiden trip to Europe, Prime Minister Narendra Modi visited France and Germany, the two industrialized democracies of G7 countries. He made a strong pitch for his flagship program of Make in India by showcasing India as an ideal investment destination. Prime Minister Modi chose Paris as his first destination in Europe, just as French President François Hollande chose India as his first visit to an Asian country after assuming office. Prime Minister Modi was accorded a ceremonial welcome. With thrust on investments in India, Prime Minister Modi held two closed-door roundtable meetings with French CEOs on defense and infrastructure. The focus of the discussions was on his pet themes of Make in India in defense and issues relating to clean Ganga, railways, waste management and smart cities. In the 70th anniversary year of UNESCO, Prime Minister Modi underscored the principles enshrined in the Constitution. In his address to the UNESCO, Prime Minister Modi said the strength of the nation is determined by the joined hands of every citizen, and the real progress is measured through empowerment of the weakest.
This has been our creed since we assumed office nearly a year ago. And we shall urge our progress not just by the cold statistics of growth, but by the warm glow of belief and hope on human faces.
Prime Minister Modi held talks with French President Hollande, which was followed by delegation-level talks. The two leaders discussed defense, space, nuclear energy, economy and terrorism. Prime Minister Modi announced the decision to buy 36 multi-role combat Rafale jets in flyaway condition. The decision was hailed as oxygen to the Indian Air Force, making up for a critical shortfall in its combat capability. French President Hollande backed India's candidature for permanent membership of the UN Security Council and announced that France would invest 2 billion euros in India. The outcomes included MOU between L&T and Areva, MOU between ISRO and CNES in space cooperation, MOU on cooperation in renewable energy, MOU on railways on semi-high-speed rails and station renovation, Letter of Intent on Cooperation in Tourism, MOU on Skill Development. Prime Minister Modi's evening in Paris was spent on a boat ride with French President Hollande on the Seine River. It was a novel experiment that could best be described as Nao Pe Charcha, or discussion on a boat. All along, Prime Minister Modi and his host were cheered by the enthusiastic crowds. In a significant move, Prime Minister Modi visited the World War I Memorial. About 10,000 Indian soldiers gave up their lives in World War I in France. The Prime Minister's visit served to underscore the Indian contribution during that period. A community reception was hosted in honor of the Prime Minister, where he reiterated India's immense contribution to global peace. He regretted that although the largest contributor to UN peacekeeping operations, India is not in the UN Security Council.
वो दिन चले गए जब हिंदुस्तान भीख मांगेगा। यह देश अपना हक मांगता है।
Make in India got a huge boost after the visit of the Prime Minister to the Airbus facility. The Airbus announced that it was ready to manufacture helicopters, satellites and military transport planes in India. It pledged to raise the outsourcing to India up to $2 billion from the current $400 million by 2020. Continuing with the thrust on Make in India, Prime Minister Modi, who arrived in Germany on the second leg of his visit, jointly inaugurated the Hanover Messe, the industrial fair, along with German Chancellor Angela Merkel. Amidst the colourful extravaganza of dances and the mechanized line, Prime Minister Modi announced the arrival of India on the global centre stage. His message to the captains of industry was loud and clear. The environment is stable, rules will not change frequently, and there will be no surprise elements. India has unleashed the lion.
Make in India is not a brand, nor is it simply a slogan on a smart lion. It is a new national movement, and it covers the whole spectrum of government, society, and business.
Prime Minister Modi and German Chancellor Angela Merkel jointly inaugurated the India Pavilion. At the India-Germany Business Summit, Prime Minister Modi sought to assure the German companies that India is now a changed country with a regulatory regime much more transparent, responsive and stable. After his arrival in Berlin, the first engagement of the Prime Minister was to visit the Siemens Technical Academy, considered a leader in vocational education. A community reception was hosted in honor of the Prime Minister. German Chancellor Angela Merkel accorded a ceremonial welcome to Prime Minister Modi at the Federal Chancellery. This was followed by talks between the two leaders. The two leaders resolved to take the India-German strategic partnership to a new level. The two countries would coordinate on the early conclusion of the EU-India Free Trade Agreement, besides on terrorism and UN reform.
मेरा विश्वास है कि धरती का राजा लायन और आकाश का राजा ईगल की अच्छी जोड़ी बनेगी.
Prime Minister Modi visited the Hauptbahnhof railway station in Berlin. The Prime Minister described it as a valuable experience as there was a lot to learn about railway infrastructure and modernization. Prime Minister Modi's effort to convince Europe that the winds of change have gathered speed in India and one should come to India and feel the change met with positive response. Everyone is keen to welcome the lion and feels that there is enough room for him.